Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Dan French, Wealthytainment. Like the channel, subscribe. Today, I have a great topic that I want to talk about, which a lot of people have brought up in the news and have a good opinion on. The use of steroids, and in bodybuilding, professional bodybuilding, a lot of people want, to take steroids to look good. But do you really make a lot of money using steroids and professional bodybuilding, and how do they make their money? And is it worth it? And also, a lot of people today at a younger age are getting onto it, taking steroids and wanting to look good, but are they progressing to use that steroids to have a career in bodybuilding? Only a very short or very small percentage of people make money in bodybuilding and the use of, they call, gear or steroids. And, a lot of people today, they want to look good. They get started at a young age. And there's a lot of people out there that are taking it, in 18, 19 years old, that could potentially risk their health long term. You look at a lot of these bodybuilders, they don't live past 60, yet they did a survey, which is very interesting. We'll talk about this. The average American has just a slightly higher percentage in death versus bodybuilders that have use of steroids. So let's get right into this. Chris, what's going on, man?
My brother, how you doing?
Good.
Always a pleasure for us to connect and bounce off these perspectives with one another. It's always a pleasure, my brother. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. So let's talk, man. I want to bring up the problem with people out there is they're always looking for the, I wouldn't say the fountain of youth, but a way to speed up the process. A lot of people know somebody's on steroids. You go on social media, the Liver King and all these guys saying that they weren't on steroids. There's been others that said that. The Rock, I believe he's on steroids. And the percentage of people out there think, well, your heart, good luck. You want to sacrifice your health for that. Yet there has been a study that came out, and we don't know how accurate it is. I'm not sitting here saying that this is, not creating health issues for people. But it's interesting because they're saying that there's a death, just a slight higher death. I think it's 13% versus 13.9% of the average American. I think a lot of this is because we have unhealthy habits with eating bad food. We really don't exercise enough. We all talk about, people going out on, start of the new year, they're going to go exercise and they do it for, 2-3 weeks. And it's right back to the same old routine. Very redundant. You got family with kids, things like that. But what's interesting is Chris came on here and basically stated that some people don't want to say that they're on steroids, and the use of steroids and how bad it can be for you if you abuse it like a drug, which I think it's still bad for you. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that use therapy, testosterone therapy, to help, especially when you're in your 40s, you get later in stages in your, middle to later stages in your life. It does help out, but you have to be regulated by a doctor. So is it safe, and are you seeing a higher clip? Because a lot of people think taking steroids, which it is, it's your fast way to look really, really good. And so that's what I'm starting to see out there. So Chris, you tell me, what do you think, man? And what do you think's going on?
And not just steroid, it's just surgery, plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery is at an all-time high for both men and women. You have Botox, fillers, there's a bunch of creams that can, make your skin tight, make you look younger. There's a plethora of, I guess, what would be there? There's a plethora of ways to enhance beauty, and vanity has always been a moneymaker, and it will continue to be a moneymaker. And for somebody who may be looking for an edge, or someone feels like that's what they need to do to get the result that they're looking for, I'm not here to judge, brother. I'm never here to say it's good or bad. Just know what you're getting yourself into. Do your due diligence, do your research. And if it's going to help you get to your goal, hopefully you can manage that use, the PEDs, performance enhancing drug, or steroids, whatever they're calling it now, HGH, to give yourself, to get you to your goal. And if that's important to you, the only outlook I would have for somebody is to proceed with caution. But aside from that, brother, it just comes all the way back to vanity. People are looking to be their best self, and a lot of that is the physical aspect of the human body.
I can tell you, Chris, I thought about taking steroids numerous times, and I didn't. I did. There was a point when I was younger that I was really into working out. I thought at one point, I wanted to be not a bodybuilder, but I wanted to be on that level. Everybody has those aspirations. They get into going to the gym. They start seeing other people look good. So for me, I was down that road, and I was thinking, maybe you order gear, and it's just a lot of this stuff is underground. They mix stuff into those things that's not necessarily healthy. And then you start thinking, well, is this really a career? Chris is taking this guy that did this interview. Let's go and see what he has to say first off and then we'll give you our opinion on it, because I'm diving into it, but I want to talk with you about what Chris had to say, and then we'll come back and give you an assessment, and then I'll tell you what I think.
In Dubai the other week, and some kid just literally, probably 17, asked me if he should get on steroids, and I'm like, no. Like, first of all, I always tell people, if you have to ask someone else, you shouldn't. And the side effects to it can vary so greatly depending on the person. You just never know what you're going into. You could do one cycle and then your natural testosterone could be dumped for the rest of your life, or you have to be on TRT forever. It can make you infertile. It can lead to more risk of heart disease, increase of cholesterol. It can affect your liver, all your organs. It can be very damaging, especially when abused, which is typically people can get addicted, not addicted like a drug, but you get addicted to the result and how you feel, how you look, and all that stuff. So I definitely recommend anyone at a young age, don't even begin to touch it. If your physique is still progressing, don't even think about touching it. And if you're not thinking about doing this bodybuilding thing forever, then don't even think about touching it. It's because some people have an idea they want to compete, and they're like, I'm going to do my first cycle and compete. And then they compete and they hate bodybuilding because it sucks. It's a lot shittier than you think it is when you get into it, especially at a high level. And then now you've done this potentially long-term damage to your body just for a 12-week prep to try and compete, and you can't go back on it. It's just not worth it. So I just always tell kids, it's sad it's even to kids, but to wait as long as possible to even think about it. Make sure that your nutrition, your recovery, your training is all perfect, and it's been perfect for years, to the point where you've hit your natural plateau where you can't really make progress anymore. And then entertain, is it really worth it to you? Understand the risk. Is the risk worth it to you? Is it going to be a long-term thing? Or are you building a career, going to school, and this is just like a side hobby? And is that really worth risking your health, All
right, so we're back here, right? So Chris came on and stated, he came out, he was fine with openly talking about it, that, it could be a potential unhealthy risk to people, and having a doctor and monitoring your blood and doing all these things is necessary. And it's not for everybody. There's a high risk, could be high reward. Let's talk a little bit about, first off, how they make money and how these bodybuilders have made money. And this is how not everybody's going to be a Mr. Olympia. Not everybody's going to make that money. You get, I think it's $1.6 million to earn the winnings that you get from Mr. Olympia. But how it traditionally starts is they come out and they get some type of sponsorship from some type of supplement, and then they start small, right? 20,000, 30,000. And this is when you get to a stage, probably after taking steroids, HGH, where you've already committed to making and taking that risk and going all in. Over time, you start making money on supplements. Then it grows to, okay, now you're out there, and now you're going to shows and you're doing shows, right? You're trying to compete. And then they have what's called pre-stage, right? Where you get hired at this, but they go on stage and they're prepping to go on to compete into the show itself. You can go from $1,500 all the way to $6,000, depending on how good you are. And then that kind of grows to, now you're selling your own merchandise, you're creating a name, you're going on and doing social media, and then ultimately modeling, things like that. And those are really the ways that people make money at bodybuilding if you don't make it to a professional bodybuilding status. The other thing is, if you're not one of those top tier, top 20 bodybuilders in the world, a lot of them turn to coaching. You can make a lot of money at coaching. And so I've thought about it, right? Go and talk to somebody. But again, I don't know if I want that risk, and I don't think it means that much to me, because look, I know I'm not making that much money here, or any money really, at bodybuilding. This is not like I'm in a sport. I'm not in some type of a professional athlete that I'm going to take the risk because I'm making millions of dollars. Now it becomes a personal decision. Is it the vanity, like you said? Do people really, is it really a big thing where people want to look good and everybody wants to look ripped and everybody wants to, look like they've hit the gym and have just look incredible by taking steroids. Would you take that risk, Chris?
No, I wouldn't risk any amount of money or any procedure or any process if my health was in jeopardy for nothing. That's just.
But what if you can make money though, Chris? What if you can make money where if you started, you had a vision, maybe you don't have a family, maybe you're single, and you're like, you know what, I want to do something because I want to do something different, and I enjoy working out. Everybody's always health cautious, and always that health is a big deal. Do you think if you were younger that you would actually take the risk or think about taking the risk when you're getting into working out? Would you think about doing it at that point?
No, brother, because there's many ways to make money in the health industry outside of being a bodybuilder. That's probably one of the lowest ways to make money, right? There's people out here, there's yoga instructors who make more money than bodybuilders, right? They start a course, they start maybe a meal prep program, they team up with a dietitian, and now they have this program where you can do yoga and get the lean, muscular structure that you're looking for. There's people who are runners, right? They don't have really any muscle. There's people who have running courses, and there's people who have stretching. There's a lot of ways to make money in the health industry. And to do it I don't want to say unethical, but to do it a way where your health is not in jeopardy. And so, nah, brother, short end of it, no, I would not. Right. Invest some of that.
Sorry, go ahead. What were you saying? Go ahead.
I was going to say, get a manager. If your thing is to get on magazines, then you got to get a manager to book you those shows, book you these gigs, maybe get you to be an extra in a movie and work on that. But no, man, risking your health, with the long-term ramifications to your body, no, I wouldn't do it.
What about people that do it and have doctors that are monitoring their situation? Like here's what I've heard is that bodybuilders that really, you got to commit, you're all in 100%, 110%. You still don't have a guarantee that you're going to make it, but they go in and they get doctors that are regulating and monitoring their heart. And, look at Jay Cutler, some of these other bodybuilders. What they did is they cycled off of it, where they did it for a period of time, where other bodybuilders, where they've had real issues, they just stay on it consistently. Stay on HGH, human growth hormone, consistently. If somebody had proven that having a doctor and cycling in the right ways and don't have the same health issues, you got to think that working out is still beneficial to your body, yet you're putting in, drugs essentially to enhance what your body looks like. Would you think that in some ways that people will still take the risk and moving forward, try to still do the things that these other bodybuilders are doing if they have it like this guy, Chris, Chris Bumstead? He's being regulated. Once his levels start to go in a different direction, he's stopping or he's pulling back. Are people going to continue to do this, and are they going to get smarter about it?
No, people will never get smarter about a lot of things. People are always going to do what they want to do until they're done doing it, right? So my dad had a saying, hard head make a soft ass. So people are hard-headed, man. They're going to do what they want to do and really have no rhyme or reason to it. And I think if you just stick to the goal and find out exactly, have some self-reflection in anything in life that you're going to decide to do with a goal, fuck health, right? Any goal that you have, right? You want to be a better husband. You want to be better at your job. You're looking to get in shape. You're looking to make a bunch of money so you can travel the world, right? Whatever your goals are, make sure that you stay true to the goal and don't get sidetracked with why you're really there. And wholeheartedly, if people do that, then maybe they don't take the risk that they outside of would normally do. Because like you said, oh, well, what if you had a doctor, and what if you had this? Well, there's always going to be a what if, right? And the what if will always, not always, but the what if statistically is what leads people or one to make a decision that they would not normally make. And so, no, man, people are always going to do what they think may be best for them. They don't manage it correctly, and they spiral out of control. And now they're in a situation where they're like, man, I should have never did this.
Yeah, I'm going to say this: UFC, NFL. Let's be honest, man. They're taking PEDs. If you were in a sport that was presenting millions of dollars, your body's taking a huge abuse. They got the best doctors. Would you consider it taking at that point if you were in a position like that, which is very small? I mean, we're probably talking less than 1% of the population, right? Would you do that, though? Would you consider taking it at that point? Because the average person out here that's going into the gym, wants to work out, they're just doing it for, in my opinion, a lot of them are doing it because they want a better, they want to look good. But it's also to get eyeballs, right? People to look at them, give them, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it gets to a point, are you basically fixated on the fact that that's all that you care about? It now becomes like almost like a vice that you want to consistently look better, which I get it. We all want to, but it turns into this is something now that it's an addiction. You're going to the gym as an addiction because you're doing the steroids, you keep seeing advancement, you keep seeing better and progress. Does it become an addiction, and could it spiral out of control? So the question I have for you is, if you're a person that was in an athlete in UFC or football, which doesn't seem like they're regulating it that much. I mean, they say they are, but we don't know. Would you take it at that point? And do you think other people that are just the average people out there going to the gym that do want to get better, do you think this is an addiction to them?
Well, I don't know. I can't answer that question. I haven't played professional sports or in that capacity. And you do make money based on your performance. And I would need extensive education. And at that point, you have the money and the means to hire the best in that field to administer and monitor your intake and what would be considered a dangerous level and would be considered an appropriate amount to get your body back to performing to the optimal performance. First and foremost, though, natural remedy is the way you need to go, or one should go. At least that's what I would start out with. And then, you do get those professional athletes, professional fighters, they take a hit or an injury that could, prolong their career. And now they have a way to get back onto the field, get back into the ring much sooner. That's not going to harm their health. Then, who am I to say you shouldn't do that or not do it or do it? And at the end of the day, moderation, you're doing it and you're being careful and you know that what your goal is and what the end game is, then, do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah, if you're actually in competition of anything like that, look, sports is a big deal. They make a lot of money. But if everybody else is doing it, I would probably consider doing it. I'm just going to be upfront. Bodybuilding, I don't know. Like unless I just had a real passion about being a top bodybuilder, maybe I would take that risk. But if you got family, you got other things that's important, that should be more important than just bodybuilding. Most of these people, man, when they're doing this stuff, I'm not going to say everybody, but they don't usually have a family and kids. They're usually just all in. They're focused on just train. And it becomes a lifestyle, right? But it's everything. Their whole life is that. How much did you eat? What did you do? So going back to it, if I was in a different stage in my life, I can see why people do it. What's interesting, Chris, is that there's only been a very small percentage, though, of people that have actually died. Like if you compare the average American in their death at a certain age, from I think it was 45 to 60 is what we're talking about in that range versus people that died from steroids. It's a very small smidgen of people that take steroids have a very small percentage that they've died a little bit higher clip. So it's like 13% versus 13.9%. That doesn't say a lot to me. So what that means is that they are taking steroids. I think there's probably more people taking steroids than we know. Yes, it's probably contributing to health issues, but is it leading to death? I don't know. I think a lot of these people that are leading to death is they just never come off of it. And It's an addiction at that point. So I think it's a case by case. I think I understand why people would take it. I understand the risks that's involved, and I understand that there could be some serious health issues, a lot of cardiac arrest, things that's going on with that. Your final thought on it?
No, I think that's it. That's you know, for those out there that are thinking about anything that's geared towards trying to look better, always start with the mind first, right? Have a serious conversation with yourself. Why do I want this? And do some, I don't want to say soul searching, but do some reflection and really peel back the layers on what it is that's fueling this desire. And I think that if people just stopped and paused for a minute and had a serious conversation with themselves, they'll find out what the reason is behind what they want in terms of vanity. We're all vain, you know. We're all vain in a sense. I'm not saying that I don't care about how I look, my appearance, and who I want to project to the world. I'm not saying that. Just find out what it is, why you want what you want in anything in life. And that's my final note on that.
All right, guys, that's it. Wealthytainment. Subscribe, like the channel. Thank you for watching the video. We'll see you guys at the next one. We're out of here.